All right. Hi.
Hi.
Thanks for joining me today, Peta-Gail, for this episode of my affirmation conversation. How are you today?
I am doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for agreeing to sit with me today to talk a little bit about the affirmation of strength. That's nothing new to you, huh?
No, it's not. Definitely not at all.
Well, I see here that you're from Jamaica, so I'm really excited to talk to you and get to hear that beautiful accent of yours.
Anytime you're ready, I can say anything you want.
I love that. So it says here that you live in New York, but you live in Fort Drum, New York. So I know New York is the melting pot of a lot of different cultures, a lot of different races of people. Have you lived in Fort Drum since you migrated from Jamaica in 1997, or did something else land you in Fort Drum?
So, as you stated, I migrated to America in 1997 as an international student and was going to college in New York. I did LaGuardia Community College and then Baruch. And then I got married. My husband was in the military. And so we PCSed to my very first duty station, which was Fort Drum as a civilian. And now this is my third time back at Fort Drum. So the Army has given me the opportunity to visit that location many times. So that's how I kind of got there this third time around.
Oh, I see. Okay. So you migrated to the United States in 97 as an international student, and then you got your residency in 2003. You joined the
Yes,
Army in 2004, and you got your citizenship in 2005.
correct. Yes.
Okay.
And
So you're really no stranger to New York.
not at all. Not at all. I love New York.
Okay. So you've been in the Army for a while then, about 18 years or so.
Yeah.
All right.
This March that went by was my 18-year anniversary. And I'm pretty happy because I had no idea that I would have stayed in the Army for such a long time. My initial intent was to do 4 years after, I got my degree and, move on to other things. But the opportunities that the Army has provided it's beneficial to me and my family. And therefore I decided to stay and make it a career.
Well, I don't blame you there. First of all, you guys, she is a sergeant major in the Army. And if you are familiar with Army rank, enlisted, that's what she is. She's an enlisted soldier. So on the enlisted side, you have ranks that start from a private, which is an E1. And on that side, you go from E1 to what's called an E9 sergeant major. So she is at the top of her totem pole. It don't get no higher than a sergeant major. So congratulations to you, Queen. That is absolutely phenomenal. And I'm pretty sure it's pretty cool when you yell at those soldiers in that Jamaican accent. I wouldn't mind being your soldier getting yelled at in that voice. So I wouldn't even take it seriously.
They love
It wouldn't even be harsh. I'd be like, okay, yell at me. I'm okay. It's fine. And so I heard you say that you basically joined the Army with your associate's degree, correct?
Right. So I joined the Army. So, when you go to the recruiting station, they, examine what documents you have. And I had the associate's degree. I had not finished my bachelor degree as yet. And so I was able to come into the Army as that E3, which is a private first class, because I had the associate's degree. If I had completed the bachelor's, then I would have came in as a specialist.
Well, that's phenomenal. So, like she said, the Army does provide a lot of opportunities because she
Yes.
not only has that associate, she has two bachelors, one in law and paralegal studies, one in criminal
Right.
justice, and then also a master's in criminal justice. So
Correct.
I'm seeing a trend here.
Yes.
I'm seeing a trend here. You must like the legal field or the law. So
I sure do. Actually, I work in the legal field in the military, which is a part of the Judge Advocate General's Corps. And I am inspired by the Corps to stay in that career field. And I may do that after I retire from the military. So.
well, that's phenomenal. Well, it is never too late to go to law school. So if
I
that's what
know.
if that's what
That
you
is
want to do, it's
that
never
is
too late.
most definitely. That is the only other career field that I would actually do in the military is to be an attorney.
That is amazing. And I do have like some friends who go to law school at night, or you can even do things online now. And even
Yeah.
in some states, you can like, you don't even have to go to law school. You can take like baby bars and you can just study and pass the bar without actually going to law school. So you should totally look into that. That would be pretty phenomenal.
I
Especially if
definitely.
you already have a lot of like, that legal mind. it might even be easy for you to like consume that type of information. You'll do good. So don't give up on that, sis. Okay.
I won't.
Today we're going to talk about strength, right? We all
Yeah.
need that. And I'm not talking about just physical strength, because I heard that you be planking for like 3 minutes.
I try.
First of all, with these little raggedy shoulders that I have and these abs that ain't strong no more, my plank is about 12 seconds before I'm shaking like a salt shaker.
I did not wake up and just did a 3-minute plank. It was a lot of work in the academy when we had classes and we were doing virtual classes. I would be in the room on our 10-minute break doing, 30 seconds here, 30 seconds there, 1 minute until I was able to get to 3 minutes. So it took some time. It took some work.
Well, that's good. That's a lesson learned, not just for physical strength, but for any type of strength. You just start small and then you just keep building yourself up until you achieve whatever your desired end state is. So that is a lesson. Yeah. Thank you for teaching us something today. So what was something that you've experienced in life that challenged you to be strong?
So there are a few things, but the one that stands out the most to me is, we all go through certain things in life. And I mentioned my ex-husband. We had a rough relationship. We had a very trying marriage, and it caused me to grow very quickly in strength. And I'll tell you that it's not just that relationship that strengthened me. It's years of growing up in Jamaica and watching my mom, who was a single mom for such a long time, and observing how she handled certain situations. That helped me, I think, to maneuver through my relationship with my ex-husband. It was a very, unfortunately, abusive relationship, emotionally, physically, and it was a time when I felt like I was in the military, he was in the military, and I didn't want to hurt his career. I knew that these things were happening. And because I work in the legal field, we know the consequences of people being found guilty of something or even being accused of something, what that can do to their reputation. And I didn't want our 2 boys to grow up knowing that their father, was being found guilty of something or accused of something. And I wanted them to see him always in a good light. And I'll share a little bit about that. So for many years, I went through an abusive relationship. No one knew, and I only told one person, and that was you. I shared that with you when I started to go through the divorce process because it was too much for me to handle on my own. And I'd like to say this: strength does not necessarily mean that you bear everything on your own shoulders. Strength is also having the ability to share something with someone in order to help you manage that load that you not necessarily can do on your own. So it was a very abusive relationship. We had a lot of arguments that turned, and it was minor arguments that turned into fights or turned into somebody getting punched, me, or being attempted to throw over the balcony, or different things that you would experience in a relationship. And the funny part, and I don't even know if it's funny, the unique part about it was no one in my organization knew I was going through this. No one could see because I didn't show up with bruises on my face. I wasn't at work crying. My work didn't deteriorate. I was still in front of soldiers doing the right thing. I was, presenting myself to my kids as a strong Black woman, right? As I saw my mom being, not necessarily that my mom went through that, because she did not. Mm-hmm. And I've never experienced anything like that growing up. So it was new to me. But I had to be strong in those occasions because I knew that I had a career that I wanted to maintain. First and foremost, my boys, that I didn't want to experience that or even learn to treat women that way. And so I wanted to make sure that for them, if not for myself, that I got out of that relationship. And specifically, I could remember one day when I was at work, and this was at Fort Lee, Virginia, when I was going through a divorce after years of handling it, dealing with it, and saying, I'll give him a chance. We'll go to counseling. I need him to go to anger management. I'm going to give you a second chance and a third chance and a fourth. And it turned into years of that going on. And then one day through the divorce process, when I was going through the divorce process, I was at work and I got the call from my son's school, my eldest son, who was at the time, he was 10 years old. And the teacher said, your son is crying because he wants his father. And at that point, I had told my ex-husband that he needed to move out of the house because I didn't want him to be around anymore. I had, you know, decided that I was coming out, not only to save life, but to set an example for my boys. And so that in and of itself, it wasn't the punching, it wasn't the attempted to throw over the balcony, it wasn't the slap in the face, it wasn't, you know, any of those things. It wasn't the guns, it wasn't any of those things. It was the fact that my son broke down and was crying. And that broke me down so much so that one of my peers saw me crying first time. And I said, I just have to leave work for a few hours. And I left. And but that was an experience for me. I got my sons into the help that the counselings that they needed. Again, being strong enough to identify that there was a need, not just for me, but also for my boys. They needed counseling. They needed to be able to express themselves, to express to someone what they were feeling. And it wasn't necessarily me. They needed someone to talk with. So they went through that process and that helped a lot.
So it sounded like you reached a point after years, right? Because we all reach a breaking point, right? And one thing about women is that we really do try to hold things together, right? We try to hold our families together. We try to hold our friendships. We try to hold our professional relationships together. But one thing about us, when we finally decide we are done, we are through.
We are
right?
done.
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
That is very true, because throughout the years, I thought I was at my final moment. Every now and again, I'd say, if he does this one more time. And then, you know, when we PCSed to Fort Lee, I had made up my mind that I don't care what happened. This is it. If he raised his hand to put on me one more time, that it was done. And it just so happened that happened. And I was like, this is it. And how I knew it was done was the first time I told someone was you. I called my mom on the phone, who did not know I was going through that for many years.
Because I know your mama don't play. She went through some hot grits on that man.
My mom would listen. So I called my mom and I told her what was happening, and she just broke down on the phone. I had locked myself in the bathroom. I had taken off my ring. We had an extra bedroom. I started sleeping in that bedroom for about a week. And at the end of that week, I was like, we're done.
Yeah.
We are done. This is not what I want. I don't want to end up dead. I don't want my boys to have to experience their mom, you know, being dead and their dad spending the rest of his life in jail. So it was an experience. And some of the things I remember clearly, you know, we had an external hard drive. One day that went through the wall in military housing, put a big hole in the wall because it was thrown at me and it missed, you know, so different things like that. And I can look back and there's no tears now, because that is an experience that I went through and it's made me strong. And I've learned from it, and I'm sure I've been sharing the story. And so I know other females will learn from it. If you're experiencing that, it's time to go.
It sounds like, having experienced that, they're at that point when you made the decision, that you became empowered, right? So after you got to the point where you became empowered, like, how did you feel? Obviously, it's not an easy conversation to finally tell an abuser at that
Right.
it's over, right? But you did, like, you had the strength and the courage to stand up to your abuser, your husband, the father of your children, and you had to make a decision to break up your home, right? You didn't you didn't cause it, but you made the decision to do that, which was hard. And then maybe your voice would think it was your fault, right? So that was hard on you, but you were empowered and you put your boys and yourself first. How did you feel, right? I know you had to feel awesome, but a little scared, right?
Yes. So there were a few things that occurred in the moment. In the moment, it was, of course, I was sad because in my mind, I've wasted 13, 14 years of marriage with someone. But then I thought about the great things that came out of it, my two boys. And in the moment, I was excited because I was overwhelmed. I was burdened. I was pressured. I wanted to tell someone and I couldn't. And I felt like I was trapped in a relationship because in my mind, I wanted to do this for my boys. My boys need to grow up with their father. I need a father figure. I need a man in my boy's life. And so that was what I was holding on to. And when I actually said, this is over, I felt every stress relief from my body. I don't know if, if you're ever in a situation where you feel stressed about something and the moment comes and you're like, you say it or you express it, and it's just a relaxing feeling that comes over your mind, your body, your soul, because now all the drama, the trouble, the abuse is over. You don't have to live with that anymore. So it was, you used the right words, an empowering moment for me. So much so that I decided to start dating myself. I went out, I went to the movies by myself, I went to eat, and guess what I didn't have? I didn't have someone telling me, hey, you can't go with your friends wherever, or you can't wear this, or what time are you coming? I didn't have that. Not saying that questions like that are burdensome, but it was relaxing to just be able to put on something and go somewhere
and do as you please.
You did what I please. So
exactly.
That was empowering. Yes.
Exactly. No, that's awesome. And, people do kind of hold on to stuff sometimes because of all the time that they invested. And it's like, it's never time wasted, right? You can't hold on to the time thinking that, it's a time wasted, because every day that you live, there are lessons that you've learned. And through the lessons that you've learned is strength, courage, growth, and it's like, had you not had certain experiences in life, you would not be the person that you are today. So,
yes.
I always see on social media, people would say, if you could, go back and change something about your past, what would you change? And honestly, I'm always straight up for real. I wouldn't change anything about my past. I wouldn't, because
the person
I wouldn't be who I am right now. Like, I want to be in charge of my future, but I'm at a good place now because of the things I've experienced in my past to know how to manipulate my future, to know, things I need to put in place to make sure that the future that I want to have, that it is a possibility for me if I order my steps, right?
Yes.
So,
agreed.
yeah, I mean, it was not 13 years wasted. You gained strength. You learned to love yourself.
Yes.
You learned how to be by yourself. Like you say, you learned how to date yourself. You learned how that putting your kids first is important. You learned that your life is important. You learned so much in that 13 years. You learned, I'm sure, what love was not supposed to feel like.
Accurate.
Right.
What it will not look like and what I expect in a relationship when pursued. So it was definitely a learning experience.
Exactly. So what advice would you give somebody who was struggling with trying to find their own strength, and not just related to, maybe, being a victim of domestic violence or anything, but just in general?
So I'd give a couple of advice, because I'll give, lean on the good people in your life, right? Lean on them because they're there to help, right? I had you, Jessica. I had my mom that, consoled me, helped me through the process. My family was there during the divorce. So I'll tell you to lean on the people to give you positive support, and not just anyone, but someone who will uplift you through the time, not judge you during your experience. The other part of that is God. God was an important aspect of that process for me. Very important. I had to seek his guidance in making that decision. And that decision not only affected me, but it affected my boys. It affected the future of their future as well. So I had to lean on him when I get the advice from friends and family, I had to lean on God to make sure that the advice that I'm getting was the right advice. So I'll tell you if you're a religious person, pray about it, seek God's guidance, and he will never steer you wrong. So those are my two things that I will tell you. In addition to that, find something that you would love to do, right? In the moment when we're going through strife, it seems like everything is against us. We're against the odds. Find something that you love to do, something that you enjoy doing, and go do it. It helps to take your mind off the process of whatever is happening at the moment in time. But those are the things that I was able to do. And that's the advice that I would give to anyone at any point. Lean on the people who you trust and can rely on. Turn to God. He will never steer you in the wrong direction, and try to keep yourself occupied. Sometimes it's good to get out of the room, out of the house, and go for a walk. Sometimes it's good to just go to the park, go to the beach, go have some dinner, watch a movie, whatever it is. I tell you that those are the things that you should do.
Speaking of doing something that you're good at, okay, you and your mama be cooking, and I know you're good at because I had your food, okay? So I would ask you, this is a totally unrelated question because I love to ask these during my conversations. So what is the best thing that you cook? And then what's the best thing that your mom cooks that you love?
Oh, all right. The best thing that I cook is curry chicken. Love me some curry chicken every single day. All right. My mom cooks a lot of great things. I can't even pinpoint one. So you know what?
Three of your mama's stuff then.
All right. Give you three. All right. So she loves, and this is not even Jamaican, shrimp scampi. Oh goodness. Mom makes some shrimp scampi. I'm eating that day in, day out, take it to lunch. Right. She curry goat, and it's funny because she doesn't eat curry, but her curry goat is on point. And some fried chicken. Whew.
Wow. No way.
Yes.
Well, yes. I am trying to find my notebook here. What in the world? Where's my notebook here? Girl, hold on. Let's see. Okay, look. Let me see. This is in my phone. You see the year on this thing?
No, I can't see it.
Okay, hold on. You see the year?
No, I can't. I'm sorry.
2016. Do you see that?
Yeah, I see 2016. Yes.
Hold on. Whoops.
Is that
what that say? You see your party wings, girl? Peter's party wings.
They're yes. So listen. So that I love to cook some jerky.
I still have your recipe in here because I love these. They're so good. Girl, I miss your wings. You making me these wings before you go back to New York.
Yeah, I'll make you some wings. Get it, and I'll make it for you.
Oh my God. Y'all, these wings are crazy and they be falling off the bone. You just put the whole, and I love all flats, by the way. I can do drums, but I prefer flats. You just put the whole flat in your mouth. You just pull it out, the meat be in your mouth and the bone be in your hand.
We probably could do it for the margaritas.
Let's do that. Yes, I'm buying the wings and you making them. We buy all the stuff. Man, it's so good. Yeah. So crazy. All right, cool. Well, before I let you go, I'm gonna ask you, what would be your life quote or tagline?
For everything, there is a season, and with everything that you experience, it will not last forever.
That is true. Unless you live in a place like where the seasons is all jacked up, because I tell you what, today it felt like winter here in the DMV.
Yes.
Saturday, it was hot as hell. It was 93. But no, yes. You're absolutely right. I am a true believer. And I mean, it's a whole lot of cliches, but you know, this too shall pass. And I believe in the seasons and all that, because I mean, it really is just the truth. Like everything is temporary. And unfortunately that is like good, bad, and ugly. Everything is really temporary. And that's just kind of like the way that I try to live my life. So before you leave, I need to make sure everybody is following you on TikTok, because y'all, she be in her Army uniform as Sergeant Major Drummond, but she be laying out some gems and it's like hilarious. So right now, you know, she kind of just started this thing, but she already has 14,000 plus followers on TikTok. So she's going to give you the handle because she's in her, you know, a little Jamaican handle, but it's awesome. Give them the handle, girl.
Okay. So it is _MI_DIS. It's Amidis. So _MI_DIS.
Amidis. right? Did I
Yes.
say that right?
Amidis. Amidis. Amidis.
I mean, girl, I'm not good. I'm just country.
Okay.
That's about all I can be. Country proper. So go and follow her on TikTok, A_MI_DIS.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Peta-Gail.
you for having me. I appreciate it. I
Yes,
enjoyed it.
of course. And thank you so much for sharing that and for being a survivor, not a victim, right? You are a survivor for sure. And thank you so much for your service. And girl, in 2 years, you'll be eligible to retire, although we know that you're not leaving the Army anytime soon.
No, not
You're going to
yet.
be the future Sergeant Major of the Army after you, the regimental Sergeant Major of the Task Force.
Thank you for all the faith and confidence.
Oh, everybody probably believes it. Trust me. So thank you. Love you, girl.
Thanks for bye.
Bye. Hey there. Thank you so much for tuning in to another I Do Affirm Affirmation Conversation. I hope that you enjoyed the conversation with my girl, Peta-Gail. I really love having any conversation with Peta-Gail. I don't even care what we're talking about. Just to hear her Jamaican accent is just like so freaking adorable to me. We can literally be talking about something that I don't even care nothing about, and I'm going to listen. Anyways, I hope that you really got something out of this conversation about strength. I want to remind you all to rely on your strength to overcome any situation. Believe that you can overcome it. Ain't nothing to it to do it. I am a firm believer that if you tell yourself over and over something, then you start to convince yourself, and that pattern becomes a reality. That's literally how I tackle a lot of things in life that I don't believe that I can do. I start to make myself believe by just repetitive self-talk, and be aware of self-talk, right? If you want to have strength, you have to practice positive self-talk. Don't be talking negative, especially to yourself. Don't talk down to yourself. Always try to be as positive speaking as possible. Now, we can't help the negative talks, right? We can't help the things that come into our mind. But when we're looking at ourselves in the mirror, speak positive things only. You must stand up for yourself. I do not care who you're dealing with. It can be your parents, it can be your spouse, your supervisor. There is nothing wrong with standing up for yourself respectfully. Sometimes you have to, we say, in all due respect, usually people know that it's probably not going to be very much respect afterwards, but sometimes it got to be like that. Stand up for yourself and follow through with the things that you say you're going to do. You cannot continue to let people run over you. You can't continue to fall in the same patterns of behavior. Lean on your guide or your spiritual higher or your friends. Lean on somebody if you need to. If you have those people in your life who you can trust to help to strengthen you in your weak and vulnerable moments, do that. There is nothing wrong with vulnerabilities. Embrace your misfortunes. Give up bad habits. Whatever those bad habits that you have, they're making you weaker. And there's a lot of them. Sometimes they're drugs. Sometimes there are that negative self-talk. Sometimes a bad habit is a bad person that ain't for you. Give it up. And remember, obstacles come to make us stronger, like Peta-Gail said, not just for ourselves, but for others. And sometimes, like me, I find my strength by being strength to other people. And that is what helps me keep going. I hope this helped. See you next time.